All right, everybody. Welcome on back to the Rhodes Show, Divisional Round Showdown. Super Wildcard Weekend came and went 3-4, and I had my beam blinders on, took the Dolphins with my heart. Money line didn't come true. They lost for me, but now the Dolphins are out. Beam blinders are off. I'm ready to attack the board. I'm ready to kill it. Undefeated. Guy went 5-3, looking great. Guy, how are we feeling?
5-3. I just continue to deliver on this show. Never a doubt. Had some long shot picks that lost. 5-3. I'll take that. That's plus money any day of the week.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So we had our special guest contest last week, and without further ado, I'll introduce them one by one. We got the guy who went the best record overall on the show last week. Maybe regresses, beat the book just a tad. 6-1 overall. Great showing, Mr. Prop.
Hey, honor to be back in the biggest no-duh of the entire year. I moved on to week 2. You know, I was really feeling Vegas. I said it from the beginning. Playoffs is when Vegas takes money from the public. Just fade the public. That's what I did, and here I am.
You know, he may be a little down from his birds, but he's up because he's back on the Rhodes Show. Jason Public.
An honor to be on the show. I hope everyone tells my picks this week. I love the slate. Just be advised. I love the slate.
And I think a lot of people expected this guy to be back on the show. He gave us the moon play. Welcome on back, Marccy Stats.
Thanks. I appreciate it. You know what's upsetting about the moon play, though, is I initially, in the initial thought, said Rams, and they actually covered, but the Lions won.
The Lions' money line was the moon play.
Yeah, fair. It's just I can't believe the -3 that didn't hit. Like, that should have hit. But it's all right. I'm happy to be back. I got a slew of picks to give out. So
you are Mr. Bills. That's also a big factor to the show. So congrats on coming back. And we have a guy who probably nobody on the show. I know I didn't. I know Guy didn't. I know probably a lot of fans didn't expect this guy to be back on the show. But he kicked ass last week. Let's be real. Doubled down on the Texans. 4-2 overall. Welcome on back, the Mute.
Hey, look at us. Who'd have thought? Not me. Had a great week last week. 4-1 on my outright plays. Najee Harris didn't score. Got stopped at the one, but that's all right. You know, just like Mr. Prop said, I didn't do great in the regular season. This is where it flips. 4-1 last week. My outright picks. Excited to be here. Let's get it going.
Let's get it going. Welcome on. Like I said, welcome on to the Divisional Round Showdown. We have our 4 special guests going up against each other. The next 2, the top 2 records, will move on to the conference championship. Have to mention our eliminated guest, Subway Mac, going an abysmal 0-5. Pretty impressive to have 0 wins and have 5 losses. So Subway Mac officially eliminated from the contest. Bean, I was counting up his picks, somehow added up to 9 picks, but the kid went 2-7. Bean and the Dolphins, they're out of here. Plus Money Porter, I know he's a big fan of the show. You know, he's the people's special guest, and the people were probably pulling for him to be back on. But guess what, buddy? You're watching from the couch. Plus Money Porter, 3-3. And let's move on to the games. Our first game, another classic Texans spot. We have the Houston Texans, the first Saturday game of Divisional Round, plus 9.5 going to LaMarvelous Jackson, the MVP, Baltimore Ravens. Over-under is 43.5. Guy, kick us off.
Well, this game is going to be exciting, isn't it? These teams are fast. These teams are disciplined. These teams have something to prove. Baltimore in more of a spot where they got to get something done in the playoffs. It's been a long time since they've gotten something done in the playoffs. They're always really hyped, but this year they are a complete squad. The Houston Texans startup organization this year. C.J. Stroud came out with a purpose, and he clearly won Offensive Rookie of the Year. Would have loved to have the ticket on that. What an idiot for not doing that. But I actually got 2 plays here. The old sandwich play, Big Brain. You know what that is?
I don't. Inform me.
The old sandwich play. Give me first half Baltimore Ravens -4.5, and give me the Houston Texans money line.
Oh, what the hell?
Give me the sandwich play, split the difference. Give me the money line, Houston Texans, but give me Baltimore -4.5 in the first half. Texans have been sharp. They destroyed the Browns last week. Their offense was red hot. I think it's going to take them a minute to get things figured out in Baltimore. Going to be crappy weather up there. Baltimore's defense is experienced, but I think CJ Stroud starts lighting it up come second half. Texans, they just got something to prove. I've been betting them all year. They've been winning me money. Houston money line and Baltimore first half.
The insane sandwich play. I can't help but respect it. Marccy Stats, what do you got for this game?
He's muted.
Did you guys know that these teams actually played in week 1? Stroud's first game, NFL against Baltimore, kind of laid a dud. You know, not everyone was on the Stroud train in the Texans trade yet, but that's week 1. It's very different. So I really want to take the Texans, but I'm actually staying away because the public is loving the Texans every which way. Money line, spread, like they're saying upset, upset, upset. Look at that dude on the right, MVP. He does have something to prove. So I don't want to take Baltimore either. So I'm actually going to go with the over 43.5. The Ravens' last 6 home totals at home with Lamar playing would have cleared this line 5 out of 6 times. So it would have went 5-1. So I'm on the over. Houston's offense is way different than week 1 because neither team actually didn't clear 270 all-purpose yards in the first matchup. So that game went under, but I'm taking the over here. And give me Lamar Jackson over rushing yards. It's over 53.5. So I like it because Lamar has run for at least 54 yards 9 times in his last 3 playoff games. So he's really up here. Fun fact, and this is going to be a trend of the show, QBs will look to run way more in the playoffs. So these props I'm starting to like. I'm taking Lamar over 53.5 and then the over 43.5.
I like it.
That's a lot of rushing yards, Marccy Stats. That's a lot of rushing yards.
It is, but it's Lamar. He might have 75.
He might. Mr. Prop, what do you got on this game?
Those are some tough picks to follow up from between Guy. I was flabbergasted, honestly, but you got to respect it. Like you said, I looked at this line. Me and Mute were actually talking last night about this, and before I had even checked the line, we want to look it up. My guess was Baltimore -4.5. I was shocked when the line was 9.5. It makes no sense. Like Guy, I've been on Houston all year. CJ Stroud has been great. Obvious rookie of the year. Offense has been great. Defense, sneaky, not bad either. They'll get some turnovers. Stingley's a beast. It was so shocking to see 9.5. It seems like the most obvious play in the world. I've also said I haven't been as high on the Ravens this year as a lot of people have. I think they've beaten a lot of not so good teams, and they're due for a come down. But because of this line, I have to take the Ravens because it makes absolutely no sense at all. Vegas is just begging you to take Houston. So I'm outsmarting the public here. Like Marccy Stats said, give me Baltimore -9.5.
Man in the suit play. Jason Public, what do you got here?
I think myself, Mr. Prop, and Marccy Stats, we have the same vision right now. We're seeing it clearly. This line is absurd, and it makes me want no parts of Houston plus. All day I thought I loved Houston plus 9.5. Give me Baltimore -9.5, and give me Lamar over 1.5 passing touchdowns. It's on DraftKings for plus 100 right now.
Ooh.
He's tired of hearing he's a running back. He's going to show it today or Saturday.
I like it. The Mute, what do you have here?
Yeah, I think every part of me wants to take Houston. I think they can win, but they have a hot offense. Ravens are coming off pretty much 3 weeks of a break. So that offense is going to be fresh. They're going to be good to go. I think this is a pretty low line. I'm not going to try to overthink it too much. I like the over here. I think the Ravens put up points. I think Houston has done a really good job over the last half of the year, if not pretty much the whole year, putting up a lot of points. And I think this over hits in the third quarter. I like the over 43.5 here. Let's keep it simple. Lots of points here to get us started for divisional weekend. Nice, fun over game.
I'm in agreement. The over in Houston's game last week against the Browns, they hit it themselves. And, I think if Houston, they're going to stay in this game, they're going to need to put up points. I think Baltimore has a lot to prove. I think Lamar has a lot to prove. He needs to win a playoff game, and he needs to win it handily. I think Baltimore's going to come out firing. And like I said, if Houston, they need to stay in this game, they're going to put up points. I love this over 43.5. This may be my favorite play of the divisional round, and it's the first game, but I absolutely love this over 43.5. Lock it in for Big Brain. All right, on to game number 2, Saturday night. We have the surprise, the first 7 seed to ever win since the 7 seed's been adapted. The Green Bay Packers plus 9.5 going to the number 1 seed, San Francisco 49ers. Over under is 50.5. Mr. Prop, we'll let you kick us off here.
All right. This is probably the game I'm most excited for this week. The line may not say it, but I think this is going to be a great game. I personally love the 49ers. I've hopped on that bandwagon this year. I got 500 reasons that I can give you of why I want the 49ers to win the Super Bowl. And because of that, I really want to take San Francisco. But I've been watching Green Bay. Jordan Love's been playing great. You have a week off, San Francisco, rust versus rest. Very similar to last game. It makes me want to take Green Bay. Everything pointing towards it. So I got to reverse myself again and take San Francisco minus 9.5. It's a lot of points. We had a lot of blowouts last week. I personally hope that's not the case this week, but I think the 2-game Saturday, we're going to see double-digit wins out of the favorites.
I see what you're saying, and I like it. And, I'm looking at these lines right now, and it's tough to say. I think I'm in agreement with everybody about this Baltimore-Houston 9.5, this Green Bay 9.5, and I'm not overthinking this. I'm riding the 49ers 9.5. I think they win this game handily. I think they show why they're the number 1 seed and why the Green Bay Packers are a 7 seed. Give me the Niners all day, minus 9.5. Marccy Stats, what do you got here?
So I look at this line and this total. I can't believe this total. It is what it is. I mean, granted, the Niners should probably put up 30 plus themselves and, still win like a 34-20 game, something like that. But it makes me just not want to touch it. That's a high total for the playoffs. So I'm actually staying away from both the spread and the over-under. I got 2 props to give out. So the first would be Aaron Jones over let me get the line, make sure, over 90.5 rushing plus receiving yards. He's had at least 20 carries in 4 straight games, and he's racked up over the last 4 games in total yards, 135, 130, 141, and 131. Now, granted, it's the Niners, defense, and they're probably, up their top 3 defense in the NFL. But they're going to feed Aaron Jones. He's getting the touches. He's a playmaker. Like, he's dynamic. If you think about it, he didn't play a lot this year. If you had him in fantasy, you hated him because he did not play a lot. He was injured. So he's actually rested up and ready for, to get a lot of touches. So I'm taking that over on his rushing plus receiving. And then George Kittle, give me over his receiving yards of over 52.5. Let's not forget what Jake Ferguson did to this Packers defense last week. 3 touchdowns, 93 yards, 10 receptions. George Kittle's averaging 5 catches for 85 yards at home, and he has at least 67 receiving yards in every home game except for 1. So Green Bay is 30th in yards per attempt to tight ends. They're terrible against tight ends. So just give me his over 52.5. And then when we do the beat the book, I'm coming back to this game for a little teaser, and it's another prop.
See, I love that 90.5 rushing receptions, a crazy line because Aaron Jones has been feasting. And
exactly.
I love that. I love that play. Jason Public, what do you got here?
I got one play this game. Make that two. Brock Purdy stinks. I love Aaron Jones. Love Aaron Jones anytime touchdown scorer. You can get that at minus 110 on DraftKings. He had 3 last week. I think there's so many points in this game. I'm going to stay away from the over. Give me Green Bay plus 9.5.
The pack. The mute, what do you have here?
Oh, he's all over the cheeseheads on that one with Aaron Jones and the Packers. This is a tough game. Whose experience did I say was over last year or last week?
I believe you said Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco experience was over. Guess who else's experience is over after this game?
I'm guessing you're going to tell us.
Jordan Love's experience is over.
There it is.
I don't think he's very good. I know that the Packers have the reputation. I think the Niners put up at least 35. I don't see the Packers putting up 10. So give me the under 50.5.
Ooh.
Sneaky great uniform game in this one as well. Just classic old school uniform game.
Great uniform game.
Great uniform game. Unfortunately, with that, I don't think there's too many points scored here. 50.5 is a lot, especially for a 9.5 point spread. So you're telling me if this over were to hit, it would have to be San Fran 31, Green Bay 20. I don't see that happening. I like the under 50.5 here. I think the Niners crush them. Jordan Love experience is over. Give me the under.
Primetime unders. I like it. Guy, wrap us up here. What do you got?
Well, I'd be happy to wrap it up here with these. I was going to mention the sneaky good uniform game as well. Way to look out for that. Love the uniforms in this game. This is going to be a really good one. It's another one like this line kind of makes sense, but I was thinking Green Bay all day. I saw Green Bay last week. I've seen what I've seen out of San Fran. This is a really, really tough game to pick. I will say. I'm sorry?
Sandwich play, part 2?
No sandwich play on this game. This is just going to be a straight pick here. I've loved Green Bay all day long. Was talking to Rooster up there, otherwise known as Jason Public, at work today. We were talking about Green Bay. Listening to you guys, though, I got to say, I got the cheese right here. Packers are done, baby. Give me the Niners minus 9.5.
I love it. Niners in a rout. Give me that all day. And we move
Big
on.
brain. Can I add a play?
Of course.
The mute. You talked me in. Give me the over in this game.
Ricochet. That is an all-time ricochet.
You know what they say. Water has to find its level. Mute might be due for a bad week.
There it is. Couldn't go all show without a mute dig. Here it is.
Hey, when the Packers went outright this week, we got to call Jordan Love a top 10 quarterback in the NFL.
I guess so. That was also another triple play for Jason Public.
No, he's just on the Niners and the over.
I thought he had
Aaron Jones anytime.
Aaron Jones touchdown.
And I missed that. Oh yeah, I mixed that up. My apologies, everybody. We'll edit that out. All right, moving on to Sunday, the first game. We got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield has many playoff wins as Dak Prescott. Plus 6.5 going to Detroit. The moon play was the money line. It wasn't the -3. Came true. Jared Goff, Dan Campbell, they win finally for Detroit. Over under is 48.5. The mute, we'll let you kick us off here.
Yeah, I got a double play here. The phrase the straw that broke the camel's back is normally a bad thing. I think it goes the other way with Detroit. They finally got that win. And I think that the first game on Sunday, I think it's kind of going to be a dud. So let me take Detroit minus 6.5. I think they win by 10. And I also like Amon-Ra St. Brown over 89.5 receiving yards. He's got 100, I think, over the last 3 or 4 games. I think he is a top 10, maybe top 5 receiver in the NFL. Bold statement, I know, but I think he is phenomenal, and he shows up in the big moments. So the double play there, give me the Lions -6.5, Amon-Ra over 89.5. I don't think this game is ever in question. I think Detroit has it the whole time.
Jason Public, what do you got here?
I got one play this game. I can't read this game at all. I have no clue what to expect. But Mike Evans, Mr. Consistent, give me over 70 yards, Mike Evans. I think the line's 69.5 on DraftKings right now.
Damn, that's low.
Low.
Mr. Prop, what do you got here?
One more ricochet shot out of me. I almost had a heart attack when Mute started his speech. I thought for sure he was taking my play. He didn't. Thank God. This is similar to me last week. I want the Lions to win so bad. So bad. I also think the Buccaneers are not that good. They got lucky with their playoff matchup. They got to play the worst team in the playoffs by far. Maybe the worst playoff team ever, dare I say. It was bad. But Baker Mayfield as an underdog, just something about him. The guy comes to play when everybody's doubting him, when the world's against him. Again, nobody in the world is rooting for the Bucs to win this game. Everybody's on the Lions. I like Baker Mayfield to keep it close. Lions secondary, not great. Jason Public said it. Mike Evans is beast as long as he doesn't drop another wide open touchdown pass. You know, we could even get a backdoor covering here late in the game. So give me Buccaneers +6.5.
Guy, what's your read here?
Well, last week, famously, Marccy Stats had the first same-game parlay on the show. And I got a same-game parlay and a side here.
Ooh.
I'm going to take Detroit -5.5. Well, I guess it's up to 6.5 now. Looked at the line last night. I think I agree with the Mute here, which I don't love doing, but I agree with the Mute. I think Detroit finally got over the play.
Just relax here, boys.
He is on the divisional round, so he's not that bad. So I think Detroit finally got over the hump. They got a big playoff win against a really good, capable LA Rams team. If the Rams played Tampa last week, I think they smoke them. Eagles were just dead. Give me Detroit -5.5. But my favorite play for this game is the same game parlay. I got Detroit money line and Sam Laporta anytime touchdown scorer. That's going to get you +156 on DraftKings right now. I think it's all lines here. I think Baker Mayfield is good season for him. Good season for the Bucs. Won a playoff game. Looked a lot better than our Steelers. I think that Baker might have a future down there, but Detroit is rolling. It's Detroit's year. The Super Bowl is going to run through San Fran, but it might as well run through the Motor City.
Marccy Stats, what do you got?
Oh, I've been itching to talk about this game. I mean, I love this game in every which way. I probably got too aggressive, but it's okay. But I'm going to start us off with a quote. If you gave that Tampa wide receiver group a good QB, you want to guess who said that? Anybody? Crowd? Anyone think knows who said that? Well, it would be a person by a guy by the name of Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Do you know who he plays for?
I think he plays for the Detroit Lions.
Motor City.
He is a quarterback for the Detroit Lions. So let's look at this game now after that. Why on earth would you ever give another team bulletin board material in the playoffs? Especially when you're riding high, like the momentum should be all you. I got back in Mr. Prop on the Tampa Bay +6.5, and you are correct about Baker Mayfield and being an underdog. He is the most profitable QB against the spread as an underdog this season at 9-3, and he is 7-1 in his last 8. So that backs it up there. He's also the Bucs are 5-1 against the spread when they're a dog of 4 or more. So 6.5 fits there, which is so give me the Bucs. Give me David Montgomery anytime touchdown, just to switch gears a little bit. He's hit this in 14 of his last 15 games and 8 of his last. So we're taking David Montgomery touchdown.
I like that.
And then I'm loading up on Baker. This is a Baker Mayfield saying, F you, what the hell? We're balling out. Give me over 1.5 passing touchdowns and give me his over passing yards of 253.5. So that's Bucs plus 6.5, Montgomery touchdown, Baker over 253.5, and Baker over 1.5 passing touchdowns. And also, Jason Public, I'm telling you on the Evans over 69.5 receiving yards, because guess what, Gardner Johnson, why are you talking crap when your defense has been getting shredded by wide receivers? Detroit passing last 4 weeks, Puka, 181 yards. Justin Jefferson had 141 and 192, and then CeeDee Lamb had 227. That's called getting absolutely shredded. Mike Evans had a letdown week last week. This is a perfect bounce back spot for him. He might go for, I'm not kidding, 203 touchdowns. That's what's going to happen with Mike Evans this week. Something insane. So give me all of that. I'm all over the Bucs. Let's ride.
Big
so
brain.
I do feel a personal responsibility to fill in the audience and Marccy Stats here on this whole Chauncey Gardner-Johnson thing. A lot of people probably don't realize this. He was a former Saint. And I had the pleasure of watching him. Great player. A lot of that trash talking is coming from a history you might remember, a game where the Saints beat the Buccaneers. I believe the final score was 49-0. And I believe Mike Evans had about 2 catches for 8 yards. And halfway through it, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson talking smack the whole game. Mike Evans comes up behind him, cheap shots him, and then throws a punch and gets ejected from the game. So there's some history there.
Let's go.
Yeah.
And Mike Evans is coming out on top because Gardner Johnson might be on the back end of his career because he had a stop with the Eagles too.
Well, he did have a stop at the Eagles. Hey, Big Brain.
What's up?
Scratch all my picks. Give me Tampa Bay plus 6.5.
Wow. Scratching the same game parlay.
Scratch all my picks. Tampa Bay plus 6.5.
The sandwich and the scratch. Wow.
Am I alone on the Lions?
You are, because I fucking love the Tampa Bay Buccaneers plus 6.5. Detroit may win this game. They may. But the Buccaneers are 100% covering this game. Baker Mayfield's going to show why he's a starting quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I would even sprinkle them money line. They're my favorite plus money line play of the day. Not going to play that. I love the 6.5. And I'm coming back to this game for the beat the book. As we move on to Sunday, the NFL, they get what they want. They get their precious Patrick Mahomes going to their precious Josh Allen in Buffalo. Kansas City plus 2.5, over under 45. I'll start us off here. My heart is telling me to ride my hedge, which I put in after Marccy Stats gave out the Bills. I put Bills, Niners to make the Super Bowl, 70 to win a grand. Solid. So my heart's telling me Buffalo. But holy shit, do I hate the Bills after last week. That was criminal that they won that game. Mason Rudolph pick in the end zone. Josh Allen, 52-yard run. Yeah. Fake slide. Yeah, whatever. I don't care. Give me this under 45. Kansas City's defense is going to show up like they always do. Josh Allen's going to fold in the playoffs against Kansas City like he always does. I'm not touching this game other than the total. Give me Mahomes and his unders. That's been hot all year. It's now 13-5, I believe, on the year. Give me it again this week, under 45, primetime unders, riding it again in the divisional round. Mr. Prop, what do you got here?
Wait, can I interject real quick?
Yep, and then you can go next.
Oh, yeah, that's a spite under. I absolutely know that's a spite under.
It might be.
Don't want any of these. You don't want either of these two teams to win because neither do I.
If I could root for a tie, I would.
All right. I see this game, and I just have one question. Guy, can you remind me who the quarterback is of the Kansas City Chiefs?
Mr. Prop, I'm just going to let this out right now. Mahomes 8-1-1 as an underdog. And you know what? I'd hate to pass you up, Mr. Prop. Give me the Chiefs plus 2.5.
It's that simple. I said it last week. Patrick Mahomes, you don't make money betting against him in the playoffs. And Vegas is giving us him at plus money. For the sake of this, I'm going to take the 2.5 points they're giving me, but I can tell you I'm going to have a massive wager Sunday on Chiefs money line. I am going to ride this wagon till the wheels fall off. Give me Patrick Mahomes. That's all that needs to be said.
I'm with Mr. Prop here 100%. We're in the foxhole together. You know what that means, Mr. Prop.
Cash it.
Cash it. The Bills are built to beat the Chiefs, and they will fail to do it again. Kansas City, their offense was red hot. Red hot. I get that I get the Dolphins were banged up. They did whatever they wanted to the Dolphins in a horrible weather game. I get it's going to be bad weather again in Buffalo, but Kansas City is just a playoff squad, and I know it pains. I'll come out and say it. I don't mind the Chiefs at all. I don't mind the Bills at all. I hate that the league comes down to these teams. Jesus. Let me restart. I hate that the league comes down to these two teams, what seems like every year, but this is just a classic battle that we're going to be watching for a long time because Josh Allen is ridiculous. Patrick Mahomes is obviously ridiculous. I know that the mute and Mr. Public up there, up at the top of my screen, you can't see him now, they hate the Kansas City Chiefs. I got no problem with the Chiefs. I'm riding with Mr. Prop again.
All right. Well, the mute, what do you got here?
Yeah, I hate the Chiefs. I hope this bet loses. I'll take Kansas City plus 2.5. Just I don't want to talk about this game. I need 10 seconds. I hate both these teams. Give me the Chiefs. I hope it loses.
I can't believe you're using your powers against the Chiefs like that. That's disgusting. You should feel ashamed of yourself.
My powers went 4-1 picking games last week. Easily at that.
Jason Public, what do you got here?
I was correct. I absolutely hate Kansas City Chiefs. My Buffalo Bills will win this game as long as the refs don't get involved and hand Patrick Mahomes another game. I love the Bills minus 2.5. To add on to that, Josh Allen over 1.5 passing touchdowns on DraftKings right now is plus money. That's unreal to me. Throw that in there too. Official play. Josh Allen over 1.5 passing touchdowns.
10-4. Marccy Stats, I know you got something here. What do you got for us?
Yeah, so I'm getting a play immediately out of the way because it's a total spite play since it didn't hit last week. Give me Josh Allen interception. That is hitting finally this week. It's like minus 110 on DraftKings. The game in Kansas City, he did throw one in that. I do like the under pick because that game was 20-17. Like it cleared this under. I'm not going to touch it. I alluded to two of these picks earlier with Lamar. I'm actually going to take Mahomes and Josh Allen rushing yards over. So Mahomes averages 25 rush yards a game. And he's hit this line of 28.5 in 2 of his last 3. Playoff quarterbacks like to run more. You know, more on the line. They want to get that first down. They're not sliding as much, especially a guy like Josh Allen. Give me his over 44.5. He averages over 50 rushing yards in the playoffs. And the last time against the Chiefs, he ran for 32 yards. So it's a little under, but obviously, like I said, playoffs, you're going to want to run more. And then the famous same game parlay I have for this one, Chiefs plus 5.5 and the under 52.5. That gets you the plus 100 odds on DraftKings. Chiefs.
Say that again.
Chiefs plus 5.5 and the under 52.5. This will be another 23-20 type of game.
Marccy Stats, the same game parlay, riding it again and riding the Chiefs. I like it.
Yeah, I had to, give a shout out to Guy for pointing that out for earlier too.
Mad respect play, headphone Stats.
All right, time for to beat the book, and we'll start off with our special guest, Mr. Prop. You went 6-1. The Matt Stafford play is tough, but 6-1 is 6-1. Kick us off with beating the book.
Yep. There's one that I absolutely love this week, and hearing some of your guys' conversations earlier, I love it even more. It just sticks to the same method I've been doing of fade the public. I love the under in the Ravens and Houston game. I believe it's set at 43.5. That's a really low total. You would think both these teams pretty good offenses and not great defenses. You look at last week, Houston beat this by themselves, but that was aided by 2 pick sixes and a 76-yard touchdown pass to their tight end. I don't see the Ravens defense giving up those big plays. I also don't see Lamar throwing 2 pick sixes. I like Ravens to run the ball a lot, running clock. I think this game goes under 43.5.
Jason Public, beat the book.
I have one play that 2 plays speaking out to me. One of them will happen if Mark Andrews plays. I love his anytime touchdown.
I'll mark that in.
If Mark Andrews doesn't play, I love Zay Flowers over 51.5 receiving yards. I may play both.
What was Zay Flowers yards?
51.5. It's plus 100 on DraftKings right now.
51.5. All right. I like it. So an if play, I like it. I've done that before. I did that in week 1 of the season, and thankfully the 49ers didn't come out and they're all whites. The mute, what do you got to beat the book?
I just want to preface this. This might be my play of the year. This might be the play of the year. I will be emptying the account on this.
Oh, boy.
It's in the first game. It's in Texans-Ravens. Give me Texans team total over 16.5. You're telling me they aren't going to score 2 touchdowns and a field goal? Give me Texans over 16.5. That Saturday afternoon, you're like 3 or 4 beers deep. They score their second touchdown in like the second quarter. All they need is a field goal to finish it. I will be draining the account on this. Play of the year for me. Texans team total over 16.5.
I really like that play. Guy, what do you got to beat the book?
Well, the Texans team total over 16.5 is not good for Mr. Props Under. Mr. Props Under is great for the sandwich play. As I can remind the audience again, Baltimore Ravens first half minus 4.5, Texans money line. That means the game will be very close. Mr. Public up there, Jason Public, hit it right on the head with my original beat the book with Mike Evans over 69.5 receiving yards. Official play in the beat the book for the guy. The other beat the book I have is Packers team total over 19.5. That's minus 125. Not a ton of value there, but I think the Packers at least get there. I like what we said about that game where I think there's no way that the 49ers don't score 30 points. And I think the Packers score about 21 to 24 points in this game. I just think San Fran runs away with this eventually. But give me the Packers team total over 19.5 and Mike Evans over 69.5 receiving yards.
Marccy Stats, what do you got for beat the book?
So we're going back to the Packers and Niners game. I love George Kittle anytime touchdown. So I like the Mark Andrews play staying on the tight ends. I like people being on Mike Evans all over that. So not an official beat the book, but since we all are on this, we should tell, the fans over here to play it anytime 2+ touchdown score parlay of Mike Evans and George Kittle. Maybe some first touchdown scorer parlay too. But I'm just taking the George Kittle anytime touchdown. Packers are terrible against tight ends. We saw what Jake Ferguson did. And Kittle has 5 touchdowns in 7 home games. So give me George Kittle anytime touchdown. Book it.
I love it. George Kittle, he's due. He's definitely due. Just like this person for my beat the book. He missed a wide open touchdown last week. We talked about it, I swear to God, all show. He's been the topic of the show. Mike Evans, anytime touchdown right now, plus 100 in the book. I'm locking that in. Maybe even sprinkle in the 2 touchdown score, George Kittle and Mike Evans, because a lot of people scored 2+ touchdowns last week. Maybe it's due this week, and maybe it's Mike and George. Regardless, Mike Evans, anytime. That's my beat the book play of the day. Like I said, top 2 guests are moving on. Best records are moving on to the conference championship. Best of luck to Mr. Prop, Jason Public, the Mute, and Marccy Stats. Thanks as always for joining us. Guy, thanks as always for co-hosting. We'll see everybody next week. Let's win some money. Winning week, winning week, winning week. Take it easy. Stay Dagish.